Hey friends. So I've recently been using a new AI tool called Victor, and I've been using it for a ton of different things. And I wanted to share with you how I've completely changed the way I work with email inside my business. And it's mostly because of Victor. So I have replaced my whole email process with an AI coworker. So I built a smart email pipeline in Slack. So I want to walk through what I had before and where I'm at. So email was eating my day. So I've always subscribed to the idea of inbox zero. And no matter how hard I tried, even though my inbox had very few emails in it, there was always a few that would get left in there as to-do list items. Then when I'd go in to check my messages, I'd see that it'd be hanging over my head. Oh yeah, there's that thing that I'm supposed to be doing. And so a little while ago, I created a pipeline. I had my Gmail messages. I download them using app script every minute, send them to Make. I had a process in make.com that routed them through ChatGPT and then sent them to the appropriate Slack channels. And it was amazing. I wasn't logging into my email. I mostly just read summaries that came from ChatGPT. And that was great. But now all of a sudden, my emails were coming into Slack with constant interruptions. I was left with about 46% of my emails were just going into a catch-all other category. And I was paying for make.com operations as well as ChatGPT API credits. And I couldn't really react with emails react on the emails without leaving Slack. So I had a receipts process, but it was completely separate and complex. Mostly dealing with forwarding emails through filters. So I didn't sit down and write a spec. I talked to Victor and I said, hey, I want to replace my make.com email pipeline. And so we sat down and we designed it together. I kind of described what I had. I shared my Google Apps script code that I was using. And then each piece, we had a conversation. It became working code and we tested it and I made changes. When something didn't work, I'd say, hey, this isn't working, and Victor went in and fixed it. And the whole pipeline with enhancements from where I was previously was built in just a couple days of back and forth conversations. And so what we ended up with was Gmail going into a ViktorAI classification that had smart routing and then posted to Slack channels. So it's very similar, but I'm not managing all of the pieces anymore. So it checks Gmail every 5 minutes. It classifies them as a category urgency and gives a summary back, routes it to the right channel. It now has a different favicon and sender name. And I actually have two systems set up. With my personal one, so this one's direct through a connection. My business one is direct through a connection with Victor. And my personal one, I actually, because you can only have one Gmail account connected, I continue to use Google App Sheets to pull out my emails into a Google Sheet, and then Victor processes the Google Sheet because I can connect a shared sheet to my business account. And then it's able to pull both of my messages. So this is an example of messages from before. So you can see I had the who it was from and the time and the summary here. And then I had a PDF link, a Gmail link, and a link to MimeStream. And this is the newer one. It's got the favicons here, and it pulls out certain important links inside the email, and then still the MimeStream and the Gmail link, as well as an unsubscribe link if it's a newsletter that has an unsubscribe in it, which has proved helpful a few times. So Victor does the classification. I'm not doing any external API calls. It routes it to notifications, a newsletter bucket. I've got finances and receipts that go into a bucket. It sends meeting recordings and things, and then identifies spam. And one of the things that I love, and this was working previously, but I love the way it's been done here, is I've got deep links directly to MimeStream and Gmail. This means if I ever want to reply to an email or view the original, I don't have to go into my inbox and see all the other messages that are in there. It just takes me directly to that email. And this works. MimeStream works both on my computer and on my phone, which is great. And has really simplified my processes. So one of the enhancements that I created was the ability to not have everything immediately dropping in. And so I identify things that are immediate and things that are batches. And batches are sent to me at 7, 11, and 3. So I get up in the morning and I read my messages. And then at midday, check in on things. And then in the afternoon, and this is always what I wanted to do, was check my email just a few times a day. But I never was able to develop the habit because I wanted to keep my inbox clean and make sure that there wasn't anything that was waiting for me. And so the other thing is I don't have evening batches in my work emails. They don't come in during the evening, and that allows me to kind of disconnect. And it's worked great so far. The other enhancement that I added was the ability to react to my Slack messages. And so if I put an inbox tray, it creates a Notion task. So I'm like, oh, there's something I gotta do with that. Hit the inbox, done. If it's something I want to read a newsletter later or something, I hit the eyeglasses and it saves the full HTML into Readwise Reader, and it's there for me to read out of my library. If it's something that should have been an immediate and wasn't, I hit the little rotating light and it adjusts its prompts to make sure that those get caught the next time through. The opposite is the snail. And then this little money bag shows up when it was a receipt that was processed. So things just work. Additionally, the notifications for financial ones, I get the vendor amount and the date. If there's not a PDF attached, it generates a clean one from the HTML of the email. It uploads them into my Google Drive so I can go back and see those by year. It creates an entry in Notion, and then it sends it into QuickBooks for reconciliation. So all I ever see in Slack is a quick highlight. This invoice was just paid. And that's usually all I need is to make sure that my bills are getting paid. It doesn't just run, it learns and recovers, right? And so as I make adjustments, if things fail, it makes progress, cleans itself up and fixes things. And I have a separate document where everything gets logged into Notion so that I can see the details that it's using behind the scenes. So before I had a very complex script where most of my emails were not being classified very well. Things were getting sent to me immediately. And now I have a simplified process that has much simpler and more enhanced features, allowing me to batch my messages and giving reactions. And so this has been super great. So I described what I wanted, Viktor built it, and it just runs. And I really do love it as a coworker. Viktor's been amazing for me, and I'm sure that there's some problem that you have that you're like, how can I solve this? Give Viktor a try, because it really does. It does work. It's fun. It's fun to play with.